Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to C.A.R. Entertainment. I'm your host Alan Hamilton, and today guys we're going to be moving on with our A21 digital technology revision videos guys. And today we're going to be moving on to networks, of which we have then a video afterwards which is called network topologies, which is just a wee bit of a branch off networks. But we have to go first and talk to you about networks as a whole and as a base, because it can be quite in depth, but I'll try to explain to you the best way I can so it's quite easy to understand. Then after we do networks and we move on to network topologies, then we'll go back to a wee bit of database and do our normalization. But without further ado, let's get straight into networks. So networks, you cover GCSE in terms of IT or digital technology. You'll do it a wee bit of I think you do a wee bit of AS as well whenever you need to know definitions or whatever. But essentially, what a network is, it is something that consists of a number of computers that are linked together by a cable or sometimes wireless technology. These computers will share resources and hardware and software, and then communicate with each other. And there's three types of network you need to know. The first one is a LAN, or a local area network, and this is a network of which computers are situated close to each other and the distances are small, and therefore they're connected through direct physical connection. These are the type of things you'll have in your school. Then you have a MAN, which is a metropolitan area network, and this is then the next in size. So it goes LAN and then MAN. And a MAN serves inhabitants of a built-up area rather than an individual organization, and therefore it uses fiber optic cable and wireless technology to provide a powerful service. You'll see these in like cities. So for example, the Met Police in London would use a MAN. But then you have the largest of the lot, which is a WAN area network, or sorry, a WAN, a wide area network. And this is geographic remote over a large area, and the connection is done using public telephone lines and undersea cables with communication satellites, and they provide services globally, such as the internet. So you go through, and there's a couple of definitions that are related to networks that you need to know. These can be brought back in to talk about your LAN, WAN, and MAN, or they can be talked about our network topologies, such as your hub whenever we talk about our star topology, which will be coming in a later video. But we'll start out with your network card, which can be abbreviated to your NIC network interface card, and it's an electronic circuit board which allows the computer to connect to a network, and this provides a port allowing the network cable to be attached. Laptops are usually supplied with a wireless network interface card to connect to the wireless router. A server is a computer on a network that processes requests from other nodes and manages the storage and hardware devices and email, etc. Switched hub will have a purpose to check the IP address of packets of data it receives and then ensure it is forwarded to the intended recipient. You then have a repeater, which is used to regenerate digital signals which are distorted by transmission loss to the original quality, and so there's no data loss. And then you have a WAP, don't get mixed up with a WAN, which is a WAN. WAP is a wireless access point, and this is like your hotspots, and that's used to connect wireless devices to a wired network such as a LAN using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And then you have a media converter, which changes physical signals with different types of network link, so for example by fiber optic cable or twisted pair cable. So let's go through now and talk about an IP address and a MAC address, and these are two very, very important things, and they're very, very similar, so try and not get them mixed up. We do have the exact definitions here. As an IP address is something that every computer is linked to, is whenever an IP address, I should actually start off and tell you it means Internet Protocol address, and you should know that every computer is linked to the internet and they will have a physical address, and this is your IP address. It's a physical address which will uniquely identify as the physical computer linked to the internet. So it actually is on the computer. So it's actually on the device. So then you have a MAC address, which is abbreviated to Media Access Control, and this assigns a unique address to each node in the network, identifying the NIC from the time of manufacture. So the difference then between the IP address and the MAC address is that the IP, your Internet Protocol, is set by your Internet Service Provider, and it changes with the location of the device. Okay, this changes with the location of the device, but your MAC address will be assigned at manufacturer, and it is permanent, so it never changes. Now that might not make sense, because whenever we told you what a MAC address was, we said that it identifies the NIC, or that it is assigned to each node on the network. But what that means is if you have 12 computers in your school classroom, then each one of them will have a separate MAC address which will be permanent and will never change. But on that computer it will also have an IP address, because that IP address will link it to the LAN. But if then you go and put it on a different LAN, then it will change the IP address. And that's essentially what we mean by it. So we're going to go on now and talk about client server, which is whenever one computer will perform the role of the file server and carry out file storage, file backup, they'll provide apps, and they'll carry out printer management. All nodes will become connected to the server via a switch or a hub. The access server can be included here, where you log on using a username and password, and you'll be connected, having access to dedicated area to store data. You'll have printers and applications. You'll log on to the server from any client, and the resources available will be the same. This is essentially like in schools. You just log on, and everything's the same. A client is a computer, by the way, in case you're confused. They will have a reliance on one central computer, which can cause problems when it crashes. So if that goes down, then everything goes down. The client is also dependent on the server to provide and manage information. You also then have, in competition with that, a peer-to-peer, which is whenever computers have equal status, and so the hardware and software function are without a dedicated server. So each PC is a supplier and consumer of resources, with each node or computer being in charge of their own security and administration, and deciding which other nodes get access to its resources. So the differences between the client and the P2P are that they are in security, where the client will have the server control and security, but in P2P there's no central control over security. In management, the client will have the server manage the network, and it will need a team of people to manage the server, but in P2P there's no central control, so therefore anyone can set up. Then in dependency, the client will be dependent on the server, while in P2P the clients are not. In performance, the client server will be upgraded and therefore will be more powerful and come with higher demand, but at P2P the machines will be slow, then it will slow down all the machines. And finally, in backup, clients will have data backed up in the main server, but in P2P each PC will be backed up individually, and so data is easily deleted by users. Thank you for watching this video. I've been Dylan Hamilton from C.A.R Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.